Bang! Neeves Knives, I'm Jared, and today we have a bunch of new real steel models, some of which are really cool. These are the new Iris knives. Now, the only difference is one's a front flipper and one's a regular flipper. But you can see there, all the details. It is in 12C27 steel, which is a Sandvik steel, very similar to 14C28M, came from AEBL. And I think that that's an awesome steel to use on this, especially with very thin, slicey blades like this. That's what that steel was designed for. Phenomenal steel for something like this. These things are really cool. They are integral liners. So the liners are basically just like bent over from one side to the other, and then they have the G10 scales over the top. The liner has some reinforcement, as you can see right there, for the lockup, so you have a little bit thicker lock engagement. Detents are so good, like surprisingly good. This one, you can hear the bearings rolling a little bit. I personally don't mind that on budget knives like this. I think it's kind of cool. Kind of sounds like a chain. This one doesn't have that that sound, but very smooth either way. And again, the front flipper on this, the detent is tuned to perfection. For such a very thin, very slim, very lightweight knife, it's surprising how good this action is, because it is very narrow and very small, but man, it's easy to use. I actually think that some of the best and easiest front flippers are going to be on narrow knives like this, but the flipper in action on this one, same thing. The detent, you're not going to fail this thing. It has a phenomenal detent. The handle and blade complement each other very well for a light duty knife. The deep carry clip, you can reverse over to that side. You just poke them in that holes. Use the screw to tighten it up. The lock bar access is really good, which I'm happy about, because when they're very tight like this and thin, it can be painful to unlock a knife if they don't give you good access. Not much negative here. I think these things are really cool. They're light duty knives, so, I don't expect them to do tougher things. Choil could be a little bit better, but they did still give you a little sharpening or two before you hit the plunge grind. The next one is the G-Tanto. The G-Tanto is a double detent knife. You can hear the detent when it opens. So it is a slip joint, but it's using a detent. So you have a detent here on the opening, and then when you bring it around, it doesn't lock, but it engages with the detents. So it does make it a little bit more secure than maybe some other slip joints. Now, as far as pinch gripping it one hand, you can do it, but it is tight. You might not be able to do it. It's a little frustrating. It is more of a two-hand opening knife, but you can close it one-handed very easily because it's, a double detent. But yeah, this edge is very sharp, so it does make it easy for the two-hand, and that's the only reason why I'm able to do it one-handed, is because that is sharp. But yeah, you might not be able to because it is very tight. But, for a two-hand opening knife, it is pretty damn cool. Very light duty, very slim. G10 scales, aluminum back spacer, deep carry clip that's inset with flat screws, good looking pocket clip that's going to function very well. Sharpening tool and plunge grind is okay. They gave you, a couple sharpenings there. You have a drop point to this Tanto, so it's going to be able to work for utility cuts, and you have the secondary tip as well. Very slicey. Again, super lightweight, and I think Real Steel does a really good job with very lightweight knives. They have some of the lightest knives I've ever experienced. Now this next one, I really like this one, the Barlow RB7. This thing is so badass. There is all the information on it, and it is using S35VN, and it has a titanium bolster lock with green micarta scales on this one. There is other options though, and it is a front flipper. This is a phenomenal front flipper. It reminds me of, what was the name of it? Oh man, I can't even think of the name of it. I'll put it up on the screen. But the front flipper on that knife was so good that, I'm glad that they did it on this one, because it is so easy. For the reach over, it's like it hooks your way, so it makes it so much easier. Thumb flick is very easy. You can do the side finger. It just makes for an incredible action from a front flipper. The knife is very narrow, very slim. It is more of a light duty knife, but you do have a full size knife in your hand. Deep carry clip, that is reversible again, just like the other one. And it is a wire clip. So the wire clip does move a little bit, but not that big of a deal. Good access to the lock bar. Very, very smooth on the drop. No, you can't use that fuller. The fuller is just not sharp enough, and there's just not enough access. But the front flipper is so good, I don't think it matters. And again, because it's a narrow knife, I think that that can benefit front flipping action. The jimping is really, really well done. Very sharp jimping, even in the open position, just using it as jimping, it's very, very sharp. Sharpening tool and plunge grind is done perfectly. I think that is a great way to do the plunge grind. They separated the end of the plunge grind from the edge, so you have plenty of life to sharpen off and plenty of room to sharpen. Like I said, this thing is it's kind of like a glorified letter opener in a way, or a glorified steak knife or something, as it's so thin, so slim, and so lightweight, but it still is a frame lock, so, you know, it's gonna be, you know, fairly tough for, you know, for light duty purposes that it's intended for. But I think it's really cool, man. I like the look of it. I like the style of it, you know, for, you know, this, because it's so small in these dimensions, yet long. And I personally like it. So I do not have a lot to complain about. The hardware, though, that's the one thing I'm going to complain about. This is a T6 pivot. Why not just do T8s? Do T8s all the way across the board. No more T6s. I don't want to see T6s on any knife ever again, especially on quality knives. Give us T8s. But, you know, not that big of a deal, but it definitely could be improved. And then the last one is actually two knives. We have the new mini Huggin. So this one is, the Huggin Compact. You can see right there the information on it. It is a compact knife, yet still a full-size knife, which I do like, because I've always liked this one. This has been one is very smooth. I'm not used to this knife being this smooth because this one's on bearings. This one's on washers. So, you know, if you like washer action, get the larger one. But me, I love this shape. This to me is a perfect knife for EDC. You have a spear point blade, beautiful swedge. You have a it's more of a narrow knife without being too narrow. So it literally is like the perfect size for a nice tight grip. This is a grip that you can hang on to for doing just about anything, whether it's puncturing, slicing, utility cuts. Very grippy, good size, good thickness. And then it's using a crossbar lock, which is a very strong locking system, which, you know, I personally love. This one's done very well. Like I said, it's on washers, so, you know, it does take, you know, a little bit to break in. The clip is reversible. You just flip it over to the other side. You can see there, good looking color combination with the gold and the blue. I kind of like it. The lock bar does have texturing on it. And the sharp tool and plunge grind, they gave you a couple sharpenings, but I wish it was a little bit better. But now the compact one, it is riding on bearings, so this one's much smoother. You can use the fuller a little bit easier on this one than I can on this one for some reason. I guess I can use it. It's not the easiest, so it's a little tight. So don't really expect to use the fuller. Just think of it as a thumb stud knife. But they did chamfer the edges for you to get to the thumb studs pretty easily, because these are kind of small thumb studs. That's my biggest complaint about this knife, is I wish the thumb studs were just a little bit bigger around, you know, because that would leave for a little bit better purchase. They are a little pokey. It's fine. I'm not, you know, it's not really much of a complaint, but it's the one thing I would nitpick about. But the ergonomics, even from this style handle being this small, it's still very comfortable. It has a deep carry wire clip that is reversible. Again, crossbar lock, so it has nice strong engagement. This one is using VG10 steel. Same thing with the large one. So very cool. Like I said, this is one that I've loved from Real Steel. I think as far as use goes, like when you're talking about a pocket knife that's a tool, right? Not something that's just for show, not something just to look, not something just to look at, but something that you're going to pull out of your pocket and you're going to actually put to work. This is a great shape, great design, and they did a really good job on it, you know. But anyways, there you guys go. Work hard, stay tough. Until next time, peace.